The film's events begin in the middle of the snow-covered forests of Taija. There is a lone hunter named Timo in it who follows Dip's trail until he finds the animal in front of him. The predator moved in a very strange way, attacking a bear that still had its status in the den. The hunter thought rationally and said that 2-on-1 is not pure justice, and the hunter began to take off and run before the animals noticed him, and he preferred to shoot fire while escaping. Next, we now move on to Igor. The man parked his car in the village cemetery and took his son, Fafka, down in good health and sat running between the wages in which Igor's friends were buried and those who died while they were still young because of drugs. He angrily tells him that when his friends were injecting this asphalt into their sweat, they didn't know what they were waiting for. But you see everything before your eyes. This tour was an educational method to fight the addiction of Fafka, whose relationship with his father was already very tense. His father showed his mind and told him, "You also want to have a baby with the syringe in your vein." Then Igor takes his son on the road at night to a small village in Taija. There are no signs of civilization other than grimacing faces. There is a motorcycle with a side seat, and the man is driving to the house of his old friend Yura, who was really waiting for the adults at some point. They took out the things they had bought from the Arab's bag. Fafka continued to contemplate these scenes that he was not accustomed to. The guests entered the house and the owner of the house began to heat the oven and ignite it. There is no central flow here. Fafka kept asking himself, how long are they going to stay here and when will they come back again? But instead of responding to him, the man began to wrestle him with clamps that had a long chain on an iron ring that was kept in place. Meanwhile, the young man was trying to remove this belt. Igor explained to him that tomorrow they would move the place further into Taji to a hunting lodge, completely far away from the world and its temptations, which are the forbidden materials. He took out the SIM card from the mobile phone and sat searching in his son's pockets to make sure that he did not hide a white rag for the dark day that he was facing. The task required today at night was that he had symptoms of withdrawal after the last dose he took. He said to his father, "I took the last dose yesterday. You understand that at night his body will break down and he will have a condition." Hell, after a while, Igor and Yura sat at the table chatting about the state of the world. As usual, the owner of the house complains that his son is not interested in anything other than video games. The guest says that his son also was immersed in games at first, and then he got into drugs. Other methods of treatment, such as sanitariums, quacks, sheiks, and preaching in the synagogue, do not work for him, and that is why he decided to try detox in the middle of the wild nature, and at this time he lost his mind and he was writhing in pain. He was trying to pull out a boot that was placed in the hall and hidden an extra dose, but it was no use. In the middle of the night, the policeman, Abizov, was waiting for Roman to go through the forest so that he could go and see the communication station that the workers kept coming from. Roman, as he was searching the place, found traces of blood flowing, and he also found the body of the Diaba worker who had eaten it. Then he found another body of a person like animals who had been killed by Roman. He understood from the traces of the two men in the snow that they were trying to inform the police. The behavior of these animals is very strange, and it is not far from them that they are terrified, and this means that we are entering into a complete epidemic because the infection is spreading in numbers, and in the morning, Fafka tells his father that he thought about everything all night and understood his mistake, and that he will never go near these prohibited things again. Igor agrees, but after the rehabilitation program that he drew, he finishes it for the other. His son said, "I really want a dose, but I won't take it again." At the same time, Yura forces his son to break the PlayStation with an axe. While the boy was crying, he broke the expensive device, and then, out of great distress, he threw the hatchet in his father's direction. Yura proposes to Igor that he should postpone the trip to the hunting lodge for a while. The origin of the Diaba ate the workers at the tower at night, and the police are working there now, and he will not be able to leave the car, but the guest is determined to move on the ice motorcycle so that he does not stay in this ridiculous situation. The owner of the house persuades him to stay at least one night for a while. His jaw was a little tired of withdrawal, and Igor was checking on his son at home. He saw that he was the one with the boot that contained the drugs with a broken wood. He had to use force to take the drugs from him, but his jaw and Igor were pulling the weapon from his neglected son at the moment when the boy injured his hand. But the young man was more concerned about the next tragedy that was coming. He was sitting begging his father to give him the drugs. Igor was offered to take a painkiller to comfort him. A little and Fafka replied to him, "We tried this issue before, and it did not produce any results at all." The father, in order to distract the young man from his physical ailments, brought him a television and a cartoon, and then Igor consulted with Yura and went to Murad Timo, who works as a nurse, to look for a sturdy sedative to guide his son if he was crying with a bucket while on the way. He was fair to the young children playing in the snow and happy, but the woman could not help him with anything. There were no medications, Igor had to. He returns home with silver hands, full of hope that his son will survive the night without stimulants. But a little later, Yura appears with 2 boxes of pills that might relieve him of withdrawal symptoms. A few men started to lock the gate, and on the way, Yura complained that his son had run away from home after the PlayStation story, and he shouted at the neighbors later when they were closing the garage. Lim and Dib were shocked on the way. Information is on the way. This is the movie in which they used a striking Dyaба from Hungary. These animals are really stars, and they have acted before in the series Game of Thrones. The important thing is that the animal attacked them and went on to maul Yura before he reached home. Igor locked himself in it from the inside, but this is not useful. The animal, maddened by the virus, jumped out of the window. The man had to defend himself from the predator whose workers were transferring his attack between him and Vovka, who was on guard. In the end, Igor hit the wood that his son had broken in the morning, and his death brought the body outside to show that he had been killed outside the house. The villagers quickly gathered around the house when they heard the joke, and before the story got bigger, Igor entered the house and put a mask over his son. In order not to attract people's attention with his voice, they went down to the basement. Captain Abazov and Roman were tied up. When they arrived, they understood that the man had killed Aldib inside the house. Then they went outside and complained that Igor had done nothing wrong and wanted to search the place from the air. They heard the sound of Vovka's gun from under the ground, and Abazov immediately took out his gun and asked Igor Bazuk to open the basement. When he saw that the ambulance had arrived, he asked Roman to meet them so that they wouldn't attack him. The scene of the incident, and then the man ordered the tied young man to come out of the basement. Igor explained the situation and showed them heroin that he had taken from his son. The young man denied everything and said that this man did not know him and was torturing him. The captain ordered them to remove the clamps from Vovka, but instead of the key, Igor took a bribe of 200,000 rubles and insisted that his son had to complete this withdrawal period, and at the same time his salary was very low. So he took the money and heroin and said that Igor turned on the TV because of the prisoner's voice. "Don't listen anymore." The captain met the investigator outside and asked him to walk the people who were watching. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, a fire and a dasha appeared in another dib. He appeared in the village and attacked someone. Roman and the policeman ran to the sound and found 6 injured. The 6 of them were imprisoned in the courtyard. Roman went to the top of the police car and sat lurking for the animal. He saw an intermittent guard dog and was surprised by the rabid bear. The rabid bear attacked him from the side. Roman was low and hit by fire and fell from above. The page was in the yard, he and the bear, and there he found this injured animal, and when he got outside, he was informed that the danger was over, and at the time of the investigator and the people appointed to him in the yard, Roman took Abu Zaf aside to talk to him about the matter of the boy tied up in the basement. The captain conscientiously offered his friend 50,000 bribes so that he would not interfere with the father's upbringing of the daughter, but the worker had a principle and threatened that he would report to the investigator about the seizure of change without a clear front, even if it was in his interest, but the situation has changed. Suddenly, when the ambulance nurse said that Igor had taken his son tied to the icy motorcycle, Roman walked by and pressured Abu Zaf to go and look for them the moment something happened to them in the forest. On the way, he asked him, "Is the boy seriously addicted?" The captain left him with a bag of heroin. Roman asked his friend to load the gun immediately, and there were only 5 bullets, but 2 more. At the same time, Igor was flying on the motorcycle in the forest and the valley. Igor worked after him, and when the road was blocked by a fallen tree, one of the bear attacked Igor on their motorcycle, and while the bear was biting the man's bag, he thought that there was something in it that was getting eaten. So he couldn't think of a better idea than to run away in the middle of the forest at night. But the bear was awake and he shot fire at the animal that was around him, and his neglected son also grabbed his cheek and returned the motorcycle bell. but the gun fell from him. He was okay. I hope this mistake doesn't make a problem. The important thing is that these two arrived at the hunting house and there was wood on the door. Nails are an invention because of the bears and the traditional guests, and yet they discovered that there was someone inside who was making an entrance to the world. Roman and Abuzov Igor warned them that there was a beast outside, and when they saw them in the trees they started shooting, but in vain. The captain hid from someone in the car, and Roman was happy to lock him inside, but that did not prevent him from biting the bear again. Roman caught up with the rabid bear before he finished with Abuzov, and since the shots had ended, the police and the worker entered the hut, and there they discovered that Captain Mazuz Eldib had only cut off the jacket and had not injured his body. When they were examining the place, they found the hunter Timo in it hiding in a corner under the bear's furrow, and because of his fear of light and his strange behavior, they tied him up for safety and put him on the bed, and he was emitting foam from a bug. Roman diagnosed the case and said that he would not live more than 2 days. My father Zoff suggested that they kill the dib in the car and return to the continent. The only problem with this plan was that there were no bullets. Roman volunteered to finish off the dib with anything in front of him, but they had to look for tools, so they went outside. At the time when Igor and Captain Bazin came to the car, Roman was searching on the cliffs where you had firewood. They were found to be executed with snow, and the tracks of 2 men were a bear, but the friends did not say so that he would not be frightened. They arrived early in the car and opened the doors. They beat the caged bear until it died. They were not happy. Faki called to them while he was terrified from inside the hut, and the rest ran towards him quickly. My father went to the car to heat up the faces of the hut. The hunter then told me that there was a chaton bear in it, and this species never sleeps in the winter. It never wanders near here, and this bear does not, but I'm upset that the animal is in good health, too. He's terrified and crazy, and they're discussing the situation. Roman got into a fight with the captain. Who's wrong? These animals killed people. They should have been quarantined or warned people or started a hunting campaign. The policeman said, I'm not the one who announced this quarantine. It's the ability to hunt and preserve later. Fafki got into mode and got into a fight with his father who was trying to treat him. His father sat down and said to him, let's sit down and run around after you. We will save you and kiss your hand too, and in the end we will bury you with our own hands. After that, the boy pulled out his uncle and showed them his dimpled veins and said that experienced addicts inject him anywhere, even under the tongue. Captain Abi Zuf stood in Igor's side and saw that imprisoning the addict was the only solution. Faki responded to him with the story of 2 experiments on the ovens, proving that it is the environment that causes addiction, not just drugs, the ovens that are living well. I was not close to drugs at all, unlike those who had no choice but to try water with heroin, but after that I did not touch it. They drank clean water after that talk, and after everyone fell asleep, Igor saw a video on his mobile phone. His company was a photographer and he had workers looking for money in her pocket, and in the end he stole a lot of things. Above all, the fear of the girl who was locking herself in the bathroom, and in the morning, he woke up early and got out of the shack comfortably. He entered the car, the one who wanted to throw heroin in it, and since he had no tools to smell it like smoke after he heated it up with passion, while he was in another state of his mind, he saw the bear outside and turned around the car and walked with it. The car then hit a tree as it was getting out of the city. The men woke up to the sound, and Faki got out of the car and he was not aware of himself and went to the bear and replaced him with a bear's lollipop. He was surprised that even a fur came to mock him and would have attacked him had his father not only followed him. The bear was determined to eat this addict and they caught him, and the rest went out with wood and axes to drive the bear away. At the same time as the bear was attacking Captain Abizov, Roman entered the car, took out a hidden rifle, broke the lock of a box, and bullets came out of it. Then Roman fired a shot to get the bear away from the injured policeman. And so slowly, after the bear was frightened, they took him and his uncle, and Captain Abizov entered the hut and closed the door. Abizov died from bleeding in front of Roman Alkab's eyes. He exploded at his son, and they accused him of being the reason for the death of the policeman. But the boy, who was a brain worker, did not understand anything. Roman silenced them and sat listening to the voice of the bear, which had missed the news and attacked the door. Roman came up with the idea of dragging the bear into the hut and imprisoning him. The bear sped up the process and jumped from the roof above their brains. Roman shot him, increasing his anger. The bear attacked him and killed him. This opportunity gave Vovka break the window and Igor entered the hut. From inside, Igor set the nail trap in the ground, and he had his son go out while he was holding the wooden stake. Vovka grabbed a knife and defended his father. He stabbed the bear in the back and threw the corpse at him. Vovka pulled Igor outside and the house was burning. The injured father ordered his son to go to the village alone before nightfall. The temperature would reach 40 below zero, but Vovka found a sled and dragged his father with him. He walked through the snow as he cleared a road and preferred to talk to Igor, who was working on closing the wound on his head so that the father lost consciousness, feeling that his end was near, and he said goodbye to his son, Jaduk, and the boy did not listen to the whispering and kept promising him that he would stop drugs after everything that had happened and that he would hope that he would not die, and he told him that I would never do that again. But it was too late. The man's soul had gone out and he did not hear his son's words. At that moment, police cars were coming at them on the road. After that, the story takes us a year ahead. Vovka is now with his wife by the sea in front of him. Igor's grave, which is made from a pile of stones, tells that he is a drug champion thanks to his father's efforts. He is also waiting for his baby to be born. Finally, the young man is running on the sea to get the water. He dives into the waves with a symbolic movement, as if he is escaping the past, and here the film, which is based on a true story, concludes. We meet in a new summary. Thank you for watching.